Alright, what's up everybody? Cameron from LDC7 Owners back again. We're going to try something. So I've got my S6 diffuser that I tried to put on and it didn't fit because all the bumper, or the tabs on the diffuser were broken and it wouldn't hold into my bumper, and eventually what happened was because of that, I just left it on the thing it'd be okay, just a little bit loose, and it just fell down and I didn't have the tips to my exhaust on yet, and the actual exits on the diffuser ended up getting in front of the exhaust and started to melt. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You see here, you can see how that's melted and all kind of jacked up there, looking really good and cooked. Not as bad on the other side, but still the same thing happened. And then here are my broken tabs. A little bit here. They're not completely broken off, which is good. They're just kind of cracked on a few of these. That one got a little hot. But I saw a video where a guy did just his own plastic welding with a soldering iron. And so it gave me an idea, because this thing is pretty much useless now. So I'm going to try and fix my tabs and see if I can't get this thing to fit onto my bumper. And then if I can fix the tabs, then I'm going to go in here with a Dremel and kind of cut this out to where it shouldn't be very noticeable. And we're going to hope that I can put this on the car, because I hate the car having no diffuser on it. It looks like crap. So maybe I can get this to work. So that's what I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we've got our soldering iron heated up, and I've got a couple different tips, or I've got other ones that I can put different tips in, and we'll see how this works. I'm just going to try the regular, rounded tip here first. Basically what I'm going to try and do is melt each end of the plastic here and push it together and see if it will plastic weld shut. So I'm going to just start by bending this down, and we're going to do the bottom one first. Pardon my dog being an asshole, barking at everything in the neighborhood. Alright, so got the top done. I'm going to try and get underneath here. It's going to be hard for you guys to see this on this side, but we're going to try this. Now, I know a lot of times that you're supposed to get a piece of plastic to kind of lay down on it as if you're like truly soldering it. I'm just going to try and do it this way first, let it cool off, see how it works. And this isn't a visible part of the bumper, so it doesn't need to be pretty. And we're going to let that cool down. I'm going to go ahead and go through and try and work on the other ones, do the same thing, and see what kind of result we get. Okay, I want to show you guys the technique I'm doing, because obviously I'm not adding any plastic to anything. I'm just kind of melting the edges and pushing the melted plastic to the center. So I'm kind of going out here and then pushing in, and that's why it's taking plastic from the outside and pushing it in to fill that cavity of where it's burned or where it was cracked. And it seems to be working all right. I'm going to flip it over and do the underside, but this is the technique I'm doing so far. We'll see how it works. Okay, so this is one of the tabs that got melted when my valance fell down and the exhaust was blowing on it. And it melted it and warped it really bad. It's really flimsy. I don't have enough here to just push plastic around and connect it. So I'm going to try and find some spare plastic that I can cut and use to connect this. And I don't think it's going to work very well. If we look at the spacing between other tabs, you can see how much space is there compared to the space that's left here. So this one just might not be repairable, but we're going to give it a go. Okay, so there are these extra tabs here. You can see there's 3 of them. We don't actually use those to install on the car. They're just extra tabs there. So I kind of scored it with the soldering iron and then clipped it off, and I'm going to use this for a couple things. I'm going to try and use the hole there to repair that end of the diffuser. There's the actual hole isn't complete, it got broke off, so I'm going to try and repair that, and then that should give me some extra plastic that I can use to try and repair this one, or to lay some extra plastic into some of these others that might need it a little bit more. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so I know it doesn't look like much, but we actually got it pretty strong. Whether it'll go in and clip into the bumper is a whole other story, but we're going to try it. I'm going to probably clean it up a little bit once it's fully cooled down, try and make it a little bit smoother, but overall, I mean, it's actually pretty sturdy there now. So maybe it'll work, maybe not. I'm going to go ahead and try and fix the end of the valence now, see if we can get a hole put on there. I'm gonna let that cool, and then we're gonna add a little bit more of this plastic to reinforce the top, and I'm gonna try and flip this thing over and do the same on the bottom, and then I'll use the soldering iron to make like a nice uniform hole, and then once it's secure enough, maybe I'll be able to trim this up a little bit to where it actually looks like it's supposed to. So right now our goal is to reinforce this and make it as strong as possible by plastic welding. We're not trying to make it look pretty right now. Right now we just want to recreate the grommet, whatever you want to call it. And you can see we've already filled that top piece pretty well. So we're gonna let that cool for a second, flip this over and work on the other side. Okay, so once again, the first thing we're gonna do on the bottom here is we're just gonna melt what we have and make a connection. Nothing crazy, just push some plastic around here. Almost, we're gonna try and get deep into that crack there. We can create a cavity because we're gonna add plastic to reinforce it. If it pushes out to the side, just kind of hit it on the side there like that. We can go ahead and start to create the hole that we're going to want. Okay, now we can start to add some plastic in. Same thing on the other side. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're gonna let that completely cure, and then maybe we'll take a Dremel here and we'll file this down a little bit, make it not hang out as much, and we'll see how it works. While we're here, we're gonna go ahead and reinforce this side. It's not completely cracked, but it's not looking great either. I'm finding the best way to do is to make channels and grooves that you can just add plastic into, almost like creating a valley there. So there was that like kind of slit there, now it's just a valley. Now we can melt this thing. What I do is I just get up my point there on a corner and push through. It melts pretty fast, and let the soldering iron get all that plastic hot so I can gently pull it out and then fill the cavity. By the way, I've never done this before, you guys, so if this works and I can do it, then you can do it. There we go. And that's reinforced enough for this. Leave it alone. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is go through and just add plastic where I think it needs some to continue to like really reinforce these tabs. Just to try and do the best job I can while I'm here. Okay, so I'm done with the plastic welding part, and let me try and get a pretty decent shot here. And you can see that it's pretty well adhered. That's just a little crack I fixed. Here's a pretty good one here. And so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna get my Dremel and just clean these up. The big thing is we wanna try and retain the shape of the OEM tabs as best as possible. And we can't make them super thick or else they won't go into the bumper. This is the one that I'm a little bit worried about that it won't catch. It might inhibit being able to get the whole lip in there, but we'll cross that bridge when we go to try and put it on. But I'm gonna try and clean it up as best I can, and we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty impressed with that one. The hole is definitely bigger than the OEM one, so I might have to use a washer whenever I put a screw in there, but we'll see how it works. Okay, so my goal here with the Dremel is to do just real light touches and just clean up the edges here of the sharp, cooled off plastic to where this can just go in and connect. All right, so if we go over here and look at the OEM design of the end of the valence here, how the tab comes out, the valence is upside down right now, and the tab kind of flares out to the outside of the car a little bit. So you see on the right side here, it flares out. If we go to the one that we repaired, we got actually the same kind of design here coming out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get, we got the same kind of design here. What I'm gonna do is kind of make probably a line that kind of comes out here, and then try and score this nub all the way down and get it best to OEM looking as I can. So the best way I've found to score the plastic to be able to trim it is to just use the soldering iron. And so I'm going to try and come in here with my completely unsteady hand. Try our best to just do an easy line straight across here. We'll just get it going first. Okay, so got that line going. We're gonna get it a little deeper here. Make it nice and defined, and then I can come in and clip it off really easily. Okay, so we just clipped that edge off, and so we're gonna use the Dremel to clean this whole area up, and we should be done. Flip it over and do the other side. All right, so it doesn't look pretty, but I think it's gonna hold, and I'll be able to get a screw there and keep that end held up. I'm gonna trim that little corner a little bit, and then I think we'll be done with the ends. After that, we're gonna work on cleaning up that and see if we can salvage some stuff. Obviously got a little bit of a crack in the valence, but I think we can clean that up a bit. I think the best way to handle fixing this one isn't terrible. I'm just gonna get the Dremel and just pretty much, in essence, sand this part down until it's flush here. I mean, we got some warpage here, but you won't be able to see that under the car. So we're gonna sand that down and get it as flush as we can to here, and then we'll go work on the other side, which is a lot worse. Side note, I should have done this first because this fuzzy stuff would be great to fill in and plastic weld the other stuff. Okay. That is not too bad. I don't think you'll notice that too much with the tip sitting there. So we're gonna work on the other side, which I think is gonna be a little bit more difficult. Okay, so this side is a little bit worse. This one got right in front of the muffler, or the exhaust tip. It's flared out real bad all the way around here. I've got this crack here. What I'm gonna do is sand this down as much as I can and clear this up as best I can without trying to go over this body line here. I think if I can do that, I can
salvage this to where most people won't see it. That crack, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do about that. I could attempt to plastic weld it and sand it down, put some putty in it, and then I could vinyl wrap this whole bumper or this valance, and then I think I might be able to salvage this. So we're going to give it a go. I'm going to try and cut out as much as I can so I don't have to sit here and waste all my Dremel stuff on this. We'll see what I can do. Alright, I think we're at a point we can start to Dremel. Okay, so we got that all filed down. It's almost nice and smooth. I could probably take a piece of sandpaper and really clean it up, but remember, this is going to be the top, so it's going to sit like this on the card and tips are going to come out, so it's not going to be extremely noticeable, assuming that all my fixes are going to work and this will stay on. So I'm going to clean all this stuff up, and then we're going to try and put this on the car. Okay guys, so next we're going to try and put the diffuser onto the car and hope that it works. It's still a little bit loose out here, and I think that's where that one tab is that we couldn't quite get perfect, but it connected everywhere else, so we're going to screw it in and see if it holds. Alright guys, it's on. I just got it all screwed in. A little loose on the outside here, and then a little loose right here, but like I said, I think that's that one tab that just wouldn't, that was like pretty warped, but other than that, it looks pretty good. So let's see how it holds up. What's up guys? So it's been a few days since I did the fix on the bumper, and we can see this part still not perfect, but that's where that one busted tab that we couldn't really fix was, but the rest of it is still holding on really strong. So it looks like the kind of DIY plastic welding is doing its job. I hope the video helped everyone. I know everybody has to deal with some broken tabs from time to time, and so maybe you can get it done, fixed at your house, and not have to go spend a ton of money at a body shop. So anyways, tune in for the next video, like and subscribe. Talk to you guys later.